I read 18 books in June, and I'm going to talk about them here. Hi, my name is Crystal, and this is Lee Loves Books. So in May, I read Say I Do. I read Take Me Apart and Say I Do. This is part of the Vitale Brothers series, right? Say I Do is definitely my favorite. That one is arranged marriage, enemies to lovers, you know, like the enemy, they really do stay like enemies for a good time, even in their marriage, even when they're like starting to develop feelings for each other. That one's like top tier my favorite. These are all MM. So the first book I read in June, Never Say Never, and that follows undercover agent Paul, real name Giampolo. Now you find out who he really is in book 3, so I'm not going to say anything here. I don't want to ruin that for anyone who may want to read it or hasn't read it yet, but it definitely is. I liked it. Hidden identity undercover books always give me anxiety because you know they're gonna get caught. It's I don't want to say a trope, but it's literally in the formula of hidden identity. They get caught. Hardly ever do they come clean on their own volition. So it does happen here. For some reason it didn't give me that much anxiety because I knew it was coming. I was actually hoping for it because I'm like, come on, you know you want to, because Paul is like not having a great time being an undercover agent. Even though he's good at it, he's not having a great time. That's not what he's meant to be. He's meant to be a mafia prince, so to speak. He's infatuated with his boss, York Washington, who's like the head special agent in charge of their unit, and they are going after the Vitale family. And obviously Paul's in a good position because he's like letting them know. It was hot. Again, Say I Do is still my favorite of the entire series, but this is still a really, really good addition to it, and I'm excited for book 5. There's no date on when that will come out because the authors are kind of like writing at their speed and they don't want to put a release date, which is very understandable because, you know, sometimes when you have deadlines that ends up having, you know, creative block. So I'm excited for it. I don't know how to explain it without ruining the ending of book 4, which, yeah, it's gonna be a good ride. Now, I stayed in the same world. I took a little side quest because I wanted to still keep, I really like this mafia world that these authors created. So I read Bad Habits, which follows Tony, Benito's like right-hand man, also guard, chauffeur, you know. Benito's book is book 3, Say I Do. He's the mafia boss. So that's his right-hand man, Tony, and then they find someone stealing from them. That someone stealing from them is Benito's cousin, Caleb. Cousin in a loose sense of the word because they don't really interact with each other, and Benito didn't know of him until when that happened. So, but it was like his no good uncle got his mistress pregnant and had a kid. So there's that. So they have to deal with that. The beginning of their relationship is definitely, but they fall in love. Now, No Good follows. Oh, Caleb also, he's like the president of like an MC gang, but like not really in the sense that we're thinking of MC romances. They're not like hardcore wearing like leather. They just ride motorcycles and dirt bikes and stuff. No Good follows Angel, who is part of his crew, Caleb's crew, and he falls infatuation with a closeted actor. And this one I feel like was dealing with a little bit more heavy content because the actor's dad is like a cult leader in a sense, and obviously with most religion, homosexuality is a very cardinal sin. So it deals with that, like cults and homosexuality and conversion camps and all that stuff. So that one I will say read with like some caution. So either way though, they were still really good little side quests for me reading the Vitale world. And I think this month I even read something else. So it's like going through their backlist, but like slowly but surely, because they actually all have a lot individually and together. Before We Came by Sloane St. James, I read that one because I've been seeing that all over TikTok and Instagram, and y'all know me, y'all know I love hockey, so I had to give it a little chance. It's okay. I don't think it would probably be my favorite in the series. It's 4 books I think right now, and I'm trying to get to like the 3rd book, or is it 5 books? I'm trying to get to like the 3rd book, the one that has like the secret baby trope, because that one sounds so good. I normally don't like secret baby, but It's fine when it's secret baby when they try to tell them, and obviously, you know, outside external forces hindered that happening. I'm fine with it because you at least you tried. You know what I'm saying? But I'm trying to get to that one. But I want to read them in order. I usually sometimes read out of order because I'm like, I don't care. I read the one I want to read. But I was like, you know what? Since everyone, it's a hockey group, they're a team, they're teammates and stuff like that, you kind of want to get the whole sense of how everybody is. So you got to read them in order. I read this one. This was like a little bit romantic suspense. Birdie, or Bridget, she was kidnapped as a child and raised by her kidnapper. So it kind of has like a little woven subplot of like going through that kidnapper's diaries, because she, in the beginning of the book, it's with her funeral. She finds out that she was kidnapped and like reaches out to her actual birth family, and they're reunited. And she's reunited with her brother's best friend, who, when they were children, they had crushes on each other. For our MC, I forgot his name, for him, that crush kind of never went away, and now seeing her as an adult, it's like full-blown infatuation. I want to be with her type thing. She's like, no, because I'm trying to get to know my family. I don't want really any complications, and I feel like this would be a complication if we do it and it doesn't work out. And he's like, no, it would work out. Like, why would you automatically think it's not gonna work out? But then they start doing this like friends with benefits type situation. Obviously he wants more, so he's just hoping, like biding his time to like slide in there and be like, I just need to make her fall in love with me. It was good. It didn't wow me for anything, but I think that's kind of like the general consensus with everyone. I think the other books are the ones that everyone really likes, so this one's like kind of like, okay, we're gonna hopefully get back into a hockey mood in July and finish the series. Next one is Secret Service by Bauer. Now this one, again, I guess I was in a suspense thriller mood. It has two timelines. It has a past and a present, and it features, you know, it's so it features the president of the United States and the head of his Secret Service. And we start off in the present time, where the president is going to do this secret meeting with like the director of the CIA, and comes up missing, and it's like, where's the president? And then it's the other timeline is the past, where they start, you see where they fell in love. I think the president has always been a gay man, closeted, so he's never been like, he has never been in a relationship with anyone for real. Like sometimes he had some fake ones with women, but it was for like image. And the Secret Service agent, like he thought he was straight, starts becoming intrigued by the president, and then he's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I'm not, I guess I'm whatever. You see the cute storyline of them falling in love, and you kind of flash back to the present, and you're trying to figure out this mystery of where the president, because at first they think he's dead. Then it turns out like, that may not be, because there's like a burnt body in there. There's like 2 burnt bodies, I think it was, or 1, no, 2. And then they're like, there's technically was supposed to be 3 people in this car. We're missing 1. These bodies don't match what the president's supposed to be like. So it's kind of like that to the wire. Like the last minute is when we find the president. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, this is like a Netflix show. I'm not gonna lie, or a movie, or like that. What's that movie? White House Down? I think it's White House Down. I was like, yo. It's not super spicy, but a lot of Tal's books aren't super like spicy. You're not gonna get spice every single chapter. They're more on the sweet side, and they have a plot though. So I very much enjoy their work. Like, chef's kiss. One of my high reads of June, because I normally don't like romantic suspense thrillers, but I ate it up. I read it in one sitting. Burning the Midnight Oil by Ashley James. This one is kind of like a forbidden sister's ex-husband, ex-wife's brother. This is book 3 in the series. So in the other series, in the other books in the series, you figure out Boone is like, his relationship seems like to be on the rocks. He's married, but then in the beginning of this book, his book, he's getting a divorce. They've decided to amicably split. Like, they love each other, but they're no longer in love with each other. They married very young. They had a kid very young, and they drifted apart. So that happened. The younger brother, you know, he comes to live with them for a little bit because he's not gonna be finishing college. Like, he's like, college is not for him. So he lives with them, and then he gets a job as a photographer, because that's his real passion. He gets a job as a photographer. He goes with Boone, because Boone is a bronc rider. I don't know. He's in the rodeo because there's a bronc rider and there's a bulls. I think he's a bull rider. He's a bull rider. They, you know, travel. I think for I don't know how many months a year or whatever. So this is kind of like a small town cowboyish, but like sports kind of romance. It's cute. It's a little angsty because obviously, you know, ex-wife's brother. They don't really want. They shouldn't be doing this, but they can't help the attraction. And then I like the fact Boone, even though he never really questioned his sexuality before, once he's like, you know, okay, we're in this, we're doing this, he really is like all in. It's Grady, who is, you know, the brother, like he's like, we shouldn't be doing this because I don't want like my sister like really mad at me because he doesn't have a great relationship with his parents and he feels like his sister is all that he has. The thing that confused me at one point though is because like they mentioned, I think they mentioned like them having another sister, but it was never mentioned with like Grady. I forgot what it was. Like it was like, oh, Jade, you know, Jade's going with her sister, and I was like, I always thought like it made it seem like it was just two siblings, and now there's a third one. Like where, and that one's never mentioned. It threw me off. I was kind of like, okay. The ex-wife's reaction as to when she finds out, I thought was also a little like, okay, girl, because again, secret stuff. You're gonna get caught, and they got caught. I think they were caught. They were gonna tell her eventually, but she beat them to it. She was like upset. She knows that he was faithful to her. The fact that he is moving on with her brother. And I was kind of like, if it was anyone else, like you wouldn't care. And I guess in real life you would. I just kind of was like, I don't know. Her reaction was kind of like over the top for me. Eventually, obviously, it's all gravy. It's all good. They become fine. Was it Deviant King, Steel Princess, Twisted Kingdom by Rina Kent in preparation of God of War that came out in June. If these were my introduction to Rina Kent, I would have never continued. I would have never became obsessed. I would have never read the Legacy of God series. So, you know, God's plan. But these were so mid to me. I was like, first of all, why is this a trilogy? This could have been maybe a duet or one thick ass book, to be honest with you. I thought the plot twist, all that jazz, I was like, okay. I don't know, maybe I just wasn't in the mood when I was reading it, and like forcing myself to read it clearly clouded my judgment on it. This is not your greatest work, and I feel like it shows because I think these are her first works. Even though Cruel Prince, which is Levi's book, even though that's a prequel, I think it's like 0.5, I think she wrote these books first and then went back. Or I don't know what the timeline was. I don't know. But you can tell like these definitely were earlier works and I would have not liked them. What do you mean you hate someone? But they can still be yours. You can still bleep them. You know what I'm saying? Like no. It just shows that I cannot do prep school bully romances. I can't do bully romances in general because me being me, I would just punch someone in the face if you're bullying me. I know people say violence is not the answer. Sometimes violence is the answer when you're dealing with bullies, okay? I'm not banging them. I'm not. So, we'll leave it at that. Daddy Cupid is book 3 in the Cupid's novella series. I don't know what's the series called. Cupidale? I don't know. That's the place. That's the place, Crystal. That's not the name of the series. Anyways, this was just in time for Father's Day because, you know, the head Cupido, is that his name? I should get the book. Hold up. Okay, yeah, it is. I have the book here. It's so cute. Isn't it the cutest? Like, and I mean, it's tiny too, so it's a really fast read. Cupio and Ladybird. Those are two Cupids. And Cupio, I don't know if the pronunciation is right. He's head honcho. He's, I guess, president. I don't think they had presidents, but he's head boss in charge. And Gloom is one of the Reapers. Cupio is the father of Eros. We don't like him in this series, but I have a feeling he might get a redemption arc, maybe. So we'll hold judgment, but for now, you know, Cupio's feeling a little bit bad about himself because he thinks that he did not do right by raising Eros, because Eros at this time, currently, is a POS, okay? And Lady Bird has always been, I want to say infatuated, but she really, I think she has a little bit of a crush, even though she probably would kick me in the face for saying that. And Cupid feels the same way about her. Now, Gloom comes in because Love, which is another Cupid who finds her, you know, love in the first book, Petty Cupid. That's a Valentine's Day themed one. And then there's Lucky Cupid, which is a Sapphic St. Patrick's Day themed one. Now, Love is trying to host a party, like mix people in the Veil, also help them find like mates and stuff like that. Gloom is one of the Reapers. She's trying to hook up Gloom and Cupid. She's like, wait, because in Ladybirds, Gloom is interested in both of them. It was a cute delight. I liked it so much. And then the fact that the Reaper is the one that's submissive to the Cupids. A Father's Bliss. This is another Father's Day themed novella. This is the final book in the Holly Knights novella series by Jacquot. A good final installment. I wish personally she could have kept this going forever. Just start making up random holidays, I don't know, or just redoing other holidays. That would have been fine by me, but I understand that at one point you gotta put a period. You gotta put a period. That's it. This one is X's dad and also dad's rival. They all work for a publishing company and they are agents, except for the FMC. I think she's trying to be an agent, but as of right now, part of the social media team. Like, she finds people on social media who may be a good fit to be a client or something like that. It starts off with her dad being obviously upset with her rival. He has like a one-sided beef with this guy, because this guy's like, I don't got no beef with you, but the dad for some reason got a beef with him. The MMC, I forgot his name. I forget the name of all of them. His actual assistant is going on maternity leave, so he needs help. The FMC, as you know, she's got a good eye. Why not give her some experience? And you know, her dad is like kind of against it, but then like he's like, you know what, fine, yeah, this would be good for her career. But she's excited and also nervous because she does have a crush on him. She's always had a crush on him, but started dating his son because she didn't, you know, she was like, I don't have a chance with him, so might as well just move on. The son is a cheating a-hole. We do not like him. We do not feel bad that she gets with his dad. The dad has always been a little bit intrigued by her, but once she started dating his son, he was kind of like, can't do anything about it. Although it like kind of like itched his ass that they were dating, because he was like, she should have been mine. They go to dinner to discuss the job, somehow end up on his yacht. From his yacht, things progress, and we are like, hell yeah, about time. Y'all should have been together the whole time. Like, come on. It's not my favorite in the entire series. Like, my favorite is definitely Mother's Day in. That's a whole nother, you know, conversation that we would probably go and get distracted with. The one book that was awaited for the entire month and was just okay, which is a little bit heartbreaking, was God of War. Okay, I read his parents' trilogy, which was again Deviant King, Steel Princess, Twisted Kingdom, and that's Aiden and Elsa. This is Eli and Ava from the Legacy of God series. Now, Legacy of God series, this couple was definitely hyped up a lot. I know the timeline was supposed to be where it was like 4 years after, you know, everyone had left the university, but it read like a completely different book and vibe from the other ones. Eli felt like a different person from the other ones. Like, yeah, you grow up a little bit, but like that drastic was insane. Ava, I felt like was kind of the same. In the beginning, she kind of annoyed me, but then I was like, you know what? Actually, I kind of like her. Like, it would be like one of those begrudging, like, I like you kind of characters. But it was just like, I don't know, because this is Amnesia, Marriage of Convenience. Kind of starts off like in the past a little bit, but then like she has an accident and then wakes up, and then like two years of her memory is gone, and somehow, some way, she finds out that she's married to the one man that she cannot stand. And the reason she cannot stand him, obviously alluded to throughout the entire series. Like, she cannot stand him. She's like, don't mention his name, I don't want to hear his name. And he, in the series, is kind of wanting to be where she is. Like, you can tell he's a little bit obsessed. It's because for her, like, I think it was like her 17th birthday, there was a flashback. Her 17th birthday, she's like, I'm gonna tell him that I have a crush on him. I'm ready to do it. Everyone's telling her not to, including Landon. And Landon is a menace to society. Even he was like, please don't. I don't want to deal with you with your heart broken, because he's not going to reciprocate the way you think he is. Man was right. And the way Eli literally told her to get out my face, I do not like you, was literally a gut punch. I would have yeeted myself into the pool and like pretended not to swim. I don't know how she continued living, because it was brutal. I had very much secondhand embarrassment. Then, you know, come to find out, you know, she's married. She's like, I would have never married you. Like, how did this happen? And she's basically trying to, I'm gonna find out how this happened. We're like, yeah, find out how this happened. Nothing became of that. Nothing. It ended up being like her being passive and being like, you know what, it is what it is, but like trying to like also get back at Eli and like I guess go back to how like she was when she was in her like 21, because in the book she's like 23, but obviously with losing 2 years of your memory, she's reverting back to being like 21. So she's trying to go back to like the partying that she always did. Kind of finds out like the people that she used to party with are kind of like, oh no, stay away from us. She doesn't know why. It's obviously tied to Eli. And then come to find out, like Eli did all of these things while they were, I guess, initially married to like get her sober, because she was partying too much. She has a mental illness, and it kind of is why she's partying a lot, to kind of cope with it and just ignore it. He does things to, you know, that to help her. It's heavy-handed the way he does it, but it's to benefit her. My issue is that it's told to us, we're not shown what he does for her. And in the amnesia trope, I want to see it. I want to, you know, get bits and pieces of it, kind of like how the FMC should have. It very rarely did. And it was other people telling her that kind of like jogged her memory a little bit, which it could be the case for amnesia. A lot of telling us that Eli did these things, that he cared for her, instead of showing us that he did. In the present time, there were a few moments, like when she does a cello performance. He shows up. She's thinking that he's not gonna show up. He shows up. Then he has like a ginormous bouquet of flowers. He's showing her support. We see that. Everything else, I was kind of like, ugh. Then obviously the climax, she gets her memories back, and that leads to like the final showdown between them. You could tell he's heartbroken, but I was kind of like, why? You know? We're told that Eli becomes obsessed with her. He turns her down, but then a few years later, when she's in the university, you know, same university as him, in the same crowds, everyone's hanging out with each other, he becomes obsessed. And it's kind of like, but why? You know, you turned her down so bad. I know some people were probably expecting, because I guess I didn't read the other books, and I probably am not as upset as other people are, but like she set it up previously like, oh, when he was 6 and she was freshly born, like he wanted to marry her, so people were thought like he was going to be pining for her his entire life, and that's not the case. It's definitely not the case in this book. There's no creepy like he's 6 years older, so like when he's like 18 and she's 12, like, yeah, I can't wait to marry her. Like, he's like, no, that's a child. And even when she's 17 and he's 23, I think it is, right, he's still like, you're a child, get away from me. So it was never no like long-term pining for each other, at least not on his part. So like, where was the flip? I needed to see the flip for him. Like, you don't get too often of Eli's POV, and when you do, it's in the present tense, it's not past. Talk about this book probably for hours, or not hours, but I could talk about this book for a lot longer. For the sake of a wrap up, I'm gonna leave it there. It was a mid book for me. God of Fury is still my favorite, simply because their story, it was a lot of like, even with flashbacks and stuff like that, you were immersed in the story. This one was more of telling me what the story was instead of showing me what the story was, and being that you could have did a little more. Not saying being thick, but like just all the telling you were doing in here, you could have been showing instead. So we'll leave it at that. It was mid. It was okay ending to me. A little bit of a letdown, but it's fine. We'll leave it at that, because I don't want to get attacked either, because whether you like it or hate it, they're losing their mind. I was like, it's not that serious. It's just a book. You know how you gotta wash your mouth out? I needed to go back to what I know is like a little bit of a feel-good for me, and that's Idiots Falling in Love. So we went back to Franklin University, which these are MM series. So the first one was The Hookup Mixup. and a stealthy situation. The hookup mix-up is this one. He breaks up with his girlfriend, he's partying, the other guy comes in, he's not in college, brother is, and he came to be with his brother because they are long lost siblings, so he wanted like to get a relationship with his brother. Anyways, he goes to the frat party, they meet, and he's thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna totally hook up, and the other guy is like kind of like stoned out of his mind, doesn't realize that he's being flirty and kind of giving wrong mixed signals a little bit. The MC that is thinking that they're gonna hook up, he's like, actually never mind, because he looks like he's like toasted. So he's like, he values consent very, very much, and when you're under the influence, you cannot consent to anything, even if you do say yes, which love that. The next day, they plan to hang out, and the straight one was like, oh my god, he's such a great friend, he's gonna be, oh my god, I love this. And the other one's thinking it's a date. So that's where it is. It does get fixed up like during that, like, oh, this is not a date, like I'm straight, blah blah blah. He's like, oh man, that sucks. And they're like, well, can we still be friends? Being friends for the straight one ends up obviously being a little confusing to him, because he doesn't realize, why am I just like wanting to be around him so much? And then they end up kind of doing like a little bit of a friends with benefits, like help me type thing, help me discover my sexuality. But then they end up obviously falling in love. It's really cute. Idiots falling in love will always do it for me. Like it's always a feel good kind of, it gets me a little giggle too. A Stealthy situation follows Benjamin Asher. He's a twin. He is the younger brother of Asher Dalton and Wesley Dalton, which I've talked about in previous wrap-ups. They are in hockey romances. They used to play college hockey, and at this timeline it's professional hockey. Asher's book is, oh my god, I forgot the name of the title. But anyways, point is they're all grumpy. They're all grumpy brothers, which is hilarious. And Benny does this thing with his twin brother, that they switch places in classes that they don't do well in, which apparently is a really big no-no. I did not know that was a no-no. Harrison kind of like figures it out, and that is part of a conflict in their relationship, because he's like, oh, Benny doesn't really want to talk to me while we're in class, but like outside of it, he's like, oh yeah, totally talkative. Well, not really totally talkative, but he gives me more than what he gives me in class. Doesn't realize that Benny in class is not the same Benny you hanging out with. So, Get Your Morals by Sarah Blue. I read this as an arc, and this is angsty, taboo, forbidden. They are adopted cousins. Penny was adopted at a young age into Lincoln's family. This is book 2 in the Carlson Brothers series. It follows a linear timeline, so you can read the books out of order. However, there is a little bit of spoilers toward the end of this book for book 1. So again, I would say read the books in order. They bang through a glory hole, not knowing adopted cousin is on the other side. It's in a BDSM club. It's like this new thing that they're trying out. They both get memberships, and obviously they figure out who's who, because they start to become a little bit infatuated with the body part across the hall, or across the door, across the wall, I don't know what you want to call it. And they become infatuated, and they figure out, oh my god, it's you. Penny is horrified. Lincoln's like, actually, I'm okay with this, let's keep going. Penny is definitely like, I don't want to do this because I feel like this is gonna rock the boat. If our family finds out, they're gonna be pissed. And it is literally the day after 4th of July. Why are you throwing fireworks? Penny's like, I'm the adopted one. I don't want to, rock the boat. If they find out, I'm gonna probably be kicked out of the family, which it sucks to think that way, but I'm assuming that's some trauma that adoptees go through. And then there's also, speaking of traumas, she is on a quest to find her birth parents, specifically her birth mother, and she does find her. However, it's very emotional what happens when she finds her. And that kind of leads a little bit to a spiral, and then obviously Lincoln is there for her. He wants to be in a relationship with her, and Penny's the one that's kind of like, no dog, leave me alone. It's a good time. It's angsty, it's sexy, there's a lot of spice in there, and they're doing like the whole secret relationship and stuff like that. They do eventually obviously come clean to their family. Most of the people in the family are totally receptive and supportive. There are obviously one or two people that are not, but they come around eventually. So Lauren, Love Unwritten, it was actually an arc by Lauren Asher and Valentine PR. This one I liked. That book is thick as hell. I feel like it probably could have been maybe a little less. Personally, I love Ellie, Raphael. You know what? Maybe like an open hand slap. Cause his hot and cold was driving me nuts. Nuts. Oh my god. Nico, his son, is so cute. Ellie is his nanny. Got a little crush on his nanny, and Ellie has always had a crush on Raphael because she was, especially when they were in school together, Raphael was a senior, she was a freshman, so she had a crush on him. Basically kind of like almost her entire life. They're like, we shouldn't do this because obviously you're my nanny, you're my boss type situation. Also, Raphael is feeling like a lot of guilt and trying to reconnect with his son because his son has it's a disability with his eyesight. I'm not exactly sure what it is in terms of like name, but eventually he's going to be losing his eyesight, so he has to deal with that. His son is like really sad. They're like disconnected. Their relationship is not where it used to be, so he's trying to like reconnect with his son and stuff like that. Ellie definitely helps with that a lot, which I liked, and a lot of the plot takes place in their trip. They take like a 2-week trip. It was cute. I just think it was really long. Book 1 is still a favorite for right now in this series. Corrupted by You by Marzi Opal. This was like a random Bookstagram reel that I saw, and I was like, that sounds interesting, and I picked it up and read it. It is hot. French Italian criminal organization. I don't want to say mafia, but maybe mafia. The new head of the family and a principal for a prep school, but she's also the mayor's daughter, so she's like a little bit uptight, you know, nice image and stuff like that. They hook up before they know who each other is, and then he finds out, and he's like, perfect, I was obsessed with her from the first meeting. Now I'm gonna blackmail the mayor, who's her mother, into forcing her to marry me. It's hot, and it has like a little bit of mystery plot in there as well, because someone is coming after him. He doesn't know who, and they're doing like all of these things, you know, trying to get him in trouble and stuff like that. He's considered the Reaper for the family, so they try to like get him like caught in one of the, you know, kills that he does. I will say that was definitely intriguing, and I want to say about from like 40% to like 60-65. It lagged. I was kind of bored, so I skimmed a lot of it, so I feel like pacing was a little off that time, but otherwise I did enjoy it. Final book in the series was Batting Styles by Louisa Masters. This is part of the Franklin University series, and it's book 3. This is like a whole shared world that they all do. I read this because the MC, I think his name is Jordan in Blaze. He does like a little small cameo in a Stealthy situation and helps Harrison make Benny jealous for like a quick hot second. And I was like, oh, okay, because he doesn't, like, he was like, I'm technically straight, but no, I don't know. And he meets Blaze. Blaze is openly gay. He works at a men's store. Their meet cute is at a men's store because Jordan is on the baseball team for the college. He needs a new suit because he outgrew his suit. They hook up in that first meeting, and from there they develop a little friends with benefits situation. Again, idiots in love, because someone has to point out to them, actually, you guys aren't friends with benefits, you're dating. Everything you guys do is dating. Him going to your games, even though he has no clue about sports and is trying to learn for you, kind of like boyfriend material. You guys hanging out all the time when he gets off of work or when you are done with classes, dating relationship material. You guys, you know, like, it's all this, like, they list it and it's like, yeah, you guys are dating. Like, friends with benefits don't do that. At least they're not supposed to be honest with you. It was cute, and it was a good end to June. I think my overall on Storygraph was like a 4.0 star in terms of rating. It's difficult for me to use like Storygraph and Goodreads because you know, it's vibes for me. I'm like, it was okay, this was great, or this is amazing, or it sucked. That's usually my, I should probably make a chart of that's how my rating is, but like to translate that into stars and stuff like that, it's a little difficult. Storygraph makes it a little easier because they have like quarter and halves and stuff like that. So I wish Goodreads did that. But overall, not a bad month. We're hoping July is a little bit better, and I think it will be. Either way, thank you for watching the whole thing. Have a nice day.